Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Adam. Thanks for hanging out with me again today. And today we have another kit from Hosim to review and take a look at. This is kind of the second time me doing the intro. Seem to have lost the first one. Probably just forgot to copy it off the card, erase the card, and now we're back to doing it. But we've already run it. Came back in one piece and it did really well. So let's take a step back, explain to you what the truck is, what you get when you get the kit, and then we'll get to going outside and running it. This is the Hosim X16, sorry. They really need to come up with better names for these things, but it is a little bit more of a beginner friendly truck. But that said, it still is brushless and LiPo batteries and runs really quick. So typical packaging, you know, the truck's in there kind of sitting on a crate to keep the suspension from jumping up and down. It has the two pieces of cardboard kind of capturing the tires. So in the packaging, the truck can't go anywhere. Radio is kind of buried up underneath the truck in its own box. And you get your little tiny tool set, spare body clips, spare wheel nuts, drive pins, screwdrivers, and I think spring spacers. Had a little accessory bag with it. Has a little waterproof bag. I don't know, something you could throw the radio in your bag to keep the dials and everything from getting turned and if you toss it into a backpack, and a little brush to clean off dirt and debris if you need to work on it or clean it up. So this is the truck. Now it has been cleaned up a little bit after the run, but you know, I basically just blew it off and wiped it down. So as you can tell, it came back from the run looking pretty good. And it's not that I babied it. It took a lot of tumbles, but you know, everything held up very nicely. You get the kind of standard Hosim radio, which is a comfortable radio. You know, fits the hand really well. Unfortunately, my little toe thumb doesn't reach the steering, but I don't really drive single-handed. Now, you do have a throttle rate, so you can dial it down if you're giving this to a new driver or a kid, or this is your first vehicle. You can dial the throttle down on this first one, and it will, you know, 2 or 3 miles an hour crawling around, you know, just getting the feel for it, and then you can crank it all the way up to 100, and you know, it's going probably 20-ish, 25 miles an hour. Again, this is just in my yard, so I'm just taking a guesstimate. I didn't put the GPS tracker on there. So you also have steering trim on the radio on your dial, and you also have a steering rate, so you can dial down the steering. So if you are trying to drive it, say on the track, you know, you can dial down the steering so it's not whipping so much, or if you keep rolling it over, because you know, it's a small truck, big tires, it is going to want to flip over on you. So you can dial the rate down a little bit so it doesn't steer quite as fast and want to flip over on its side. Then of course you have steering and throttle reverse, which you don't need because it's set up out of the box. Didn't have any issues with, you know, range on this. It does have headlights in the grille, and it is a brushless motor. Now for me, it was kind of a what moment when I opened it up. It actually has a little outrunner motor in there. If you're into the hobby, you know, typically an in-runner or sealed can motor is going to be what you normally see. So the motor is fixed, the motor housing is fixed, and the rotor internally spins, and that's what turns the drivetrain and all that. Well, this one's exactly opposite. The internals of the motor are fixed, and the outside of the can is actually spinning around the internal structure. But the reason I mention that is it is something to be aware of. If you do get one of these, you don't want these wires sitting right up next to them. Now, when I got the truck, they're already kind of pre-bent to stay away from that, and they're fairly rigid, so they want to stay away from it. It comes with a two-pair. The truck comes with 2 pair of these little LiPo packs. It's a 1500 milliamp 15C 2S pack, and they're kind of like the little hard cells, so you really don't have to be too careful with them. But obviously, you know, the shrink wrap starts getting torn up, you know, put some tape around there just so you don't short out anything. But it's capable of being charged on any charger. You have a Dean's plug and then a balance plug here, so you can charge it either on the supplied USB charger or with your own personal hobby charger. Hobby charger is my go-to because it's a whole lot faster. But it does come with the 2 batteries and USB chargers for it, so you don't have to have a hobby grade charger. Has a micro servo, but it is a 3-wire servo, so if something does go wrong, you can upgrade or replace it. Overall, it's just there is a metal crossbar in the steering. Most of the steering components are plastic. It does have adjustable steering rods on the front end, and that's really the only adjustment you have. Everything else is fixed link, upper and lower. But the cool thing is the fronts and the backs are the same. So if you break something on this, like say you bend an arm or crack an arm or something, and you buy replacements, well, you're gonna get probably a front set or a rear set. It doesn't matter because you just flip them over and they go back and forth. Now, this has a big 2-in-1 ESC in it. Now, I have heard you can run these in 3S, but it's not rated for it. So that is up to you. You're liable to fry this or cook the motor doing 3S, but it is 2S capable and works really well. There's no glitching. I didn't have any issues with it. Like I said, I didn't have any range problems with it, and it does have a cooling fan built into it. One thing to note, cooling fans are great and a wonderful upgrade, especially if you're going to be bashing them hard out in the grass and stuff like that. That is the biggest downfall to having an outrunner motor in your RC car. You can't put a heatsink on an outrunner motor because the can is spinning. So the motor is what the motor is. You could technically put a fan in here and blow directly onto the motor, but you know, a lot of times a clip-on heatsink with a fan works a ton better than just kind of blowing air at it. Now, I ran mine. All I did was get one battery pack through it, and it was pretty much straight runtime. So it wasn't like I ran it in one place and let it sit around for 10 or 15 minutes and ran it another place. You know, it was like a 2 or 3 minute delay in between getting it from point A to point B. The motor was hot when I got done, but again, that was like 20 minutes, 18, 20 minutes of full, you know, time running it. So, you know, it wasn't terrible. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a little bit more of a beginner grade kit. So you do have plastic dog bones, plastic drive cups, plastic U-joints in the front end and the rear. So the axles are the same front and rear, hubs are the same front and rear. You know, basically the suspension is just copied front and rear. The only thing difference is you have the turning up here where the rear end is fixed with the rear hubs. So the hubs are different, and you did get as I do remember, you do get a full set of hubs with this as well. Now, I would say probably the biggest drawback to this kit is it is friction shock, which isn't a deal breaker per se, but to upgrade the shocks, you know, you're looking at $15-20 to buy a full set of oil-filled shocks for this thing, which, you know, isn't terrible, but again, you're adding to that price a little bit by little bit if you're upgrading the shocks. So something to keep in mind when you get it. It is friction dampened, and you will see in the running video that it does kind of have a mind of its own occasionally when it gets bouncing. But overall, like I said, this thing took a couple hellacious tumbles, a couple hard body landings, and no issues. Now, the only thing I did to upgrade this is put on some foam body washers, which are dirt cheap on Amazon. And just all I did the only reason I did that is I hate hearing a Lexan body rattle around, and this one was a little loose between the bottom of the post and the clip, so it had that little bit of rattle to it. So stuck some foam body washers in there and all is good there. So at this point, I really don't have anything else to talk about. You know, it ran well, it did good, and you guys will see all that in the run video and at the wrap up at the end. But this is the Hosim X16. Thanks a whole bunch for Hosim for sending this over for me to review. So this one, I will probably run once or twice more. It was fun. I enjoyed it, and I just want to get another couple battery packs through it, and maybe I'll do a follow-up on it. I'm not sure. But my first initial thoughts were really nice, but I do have kind of an idea of where this one's going to go after I'm done with it. But enjoy the run footage and the wrap up at the end, and I'll catch you guys later. Alright guys, so we took the little Hosim truck out for a run, and it did pretty well. Not gonna lie, it's not the best thing out on the market, but for the price point, it's not bad at all. Right now on Amazon, I just looked it up, it's $159.99 with a $30 coupon. So $129.99 for, you know, not quite a 10 scale truck, probably like a 12 scale. But brushless, 2 batteries, controller, everything you need but your AA batteries, and you're ready to go. Has lights on it, has, like I said, brushless motor. Now, it's not a speed demon. It's not the most agile thing out there. The friction shocks on here don't do it any justice. It is just way too bouncy to keep it stable. Now, if you were able to upgrade to the oil shocks, I think they're around 15-20 bucks. You know, obviously you're adding to the price, but I think with oil dampers on this, to settle it down and keep it from getting too bouncy would be beneficial. Now, apologies for the track run. Springtime weeds have gotten out of control. I sprayed them last weekend. They're dying off. I need to let them finish dying off, and I'm going to go out there with the torch and just burn everything off, get rid of everything. But I need to let the weeds die before I go burning them, or the roots are going to live and they're just going to pop right back up. Not what this video is about, but apologies for running it on the track. Most of the weeds out there were taller than the truck, so wasn't the best out there. It kept getting, you know, it would hit a tall weed and kind of get jerked to one side and take off. So the track run was awful. I give it that. The yard run was a lot better. Now, it did get out of shape a few times and did some tremendous cartwheels. I think this one has cartwheeled into the woods further than I've cartwheeled any of the other ones. But no damages. Everything is in great shape. The only thing is I forgot to pull off the little protective blue covering off the aluminum skid plate up front. And, you know, it just saved it from a couple scratches, that's all. Overall, it did well. Now, I know these cars aren't going to be for everybody, but for somebody that wants an RC car really quick and has readily available parts, you guys may not be super into the hobby and just want to get one to go out and run around in the yard or in your driveway. You know, for 130 bucks, it's not a bad deal. I'm not trying to sell you guys on it. Don't expect it to be, you know, some super skate park basher. Don't expect it to, you know, just fly across a bumpy lot without getting out of shape. It needs some oil shocks on here to settle it down. But other than that, I thought it was really good. It took some really nasty tumbles. It took a couple good upside down hits on the body. I jumped it off the jump. It tumbled and landed flat on its roof. The body's not cracked, doesn't have any stress marks in it. So, you know, that held up well, even where the body pins are. There's not any like big dimples or anything pushing up into the body. So overall, it did well. Wheelie bar, that just kind of helps it tumble, honestly. With the power it's on, it doesn't really wheelie, which is fine. I think wheeling would just make it a little bit more out of control. But if it does get up, you know, there was a few times going over the jumps where the front end got light and it did ride the wheelie bar a little bit to keep it from flipping over. So that did help. But again, overall, thoughts of it, a good truck, decent price. You know, it's not going to set any records, but it is a fun one. I had a blast out there with it. On the single battery pack, I would say I probably got about 18 minutes of solid runtime out of it. I think I was out there for about 25 minutes, but obviously with camera setup, moving everything over to the track, camera setup and all that stuff, I'm pretty sure I got about 18-ish minutes out of it. It wasn't as short as 15 minutes, but I don't think I got much more than 20. So I'm going to... 18 is about where you're going to get. Other than that, guys, I really don't have anything else to say. I'll put a link down in the description if you guys are interested in one. You know, it is an affiliate link through Amazon, not Hosim, but it is my affiliate link through Amazon, so it doesn't cost you any more. You still get the $30 off. You still get the immediate shipping, all that stuff. It just kicks a buck or two back to the channel anytime you guys buy something from Amazon with my links. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I enjoyed running it. I will probably try to source some oil field shocks on here and then take it back out and see how it does with some better dampening. But until then, everybody out there, you guys be happy, be healthy, be safe, and I will catch you on the next one. See you guys. Ah,